trying to get the minutes put back on. There they go right there. So we're about ready to go as Anthony McLean has teed the ball up for Harriman to 40-yard line, ready to kick that ball away for this big Region 2 2A game here at Wallace Blackfield in Harriman.
Patrick Newby will be the deep man for the Tigers, along with Ewing on one side, and that will be Daniel Romani on the other side. So McLean set the kickoff to get this football game underway here at Wallace Blackfield, Harriman High School. Again, Johnston Coca-Cola Game of the Week. Ron Berry and Tony Brown with all the folks behind the scenes bringing you this football game tonight. McLean is set now and will kick the football. It'll be Ewing at the 10. So Greg Ewing trying to set up a return. They've got a wall, and Ewing is in the open field. And a good return set up that time by the Tigers, and Ewing will get it out to about the 37-yard line. So the Tigers with a good return that time. The alley was open, Tony.
Well, it sure was, and I couldn't see who that was. It looks like number 26 over there. As y'all at home can see just about as good as we can from up here, and don't show a 26 listed on my roster. There he is, Tommy Smith.
So opening up, the Tigers will send Reuben Reynolds split out here wide to the left. At quarterback will be David Kelly for the Tigers. So the senior under center will give to Romani on the right side out of the split backfield, and he'll get it up across the 40 to about the Blue Devil 42. So the Tigers on schedule with the first one, as they'll get about 4 yards, Tony.
Well, the Tigers are running the ball. There's two good plays they picked up. The Harriman defense is going to have to muster down and dig in here just a little bit to kind of stop those. You can't give up those 4 yards every time, so it'll be second down.
Ramadi and Ewing in the backfield for the Tigers. Kelly, again on the option, keeps it around the right side, has a little running room, will be knocked out of bounds at about the 45-yard line, as Wilson was over there for the Blue Devils, coming up from his linebacker position. And of course, in this Veer offense, Tony, linebackers play such a big role that the linebackers have to fill the gap. Going to bring up third down and a long 4 here in the first quarter of action. 10:52 left now as the Tigers face their first third down here this evening. Again, Reynolds will come wide to the left. Holloway will go to the right. Tigers in their split backfield again with Ramadi and Ewing. Kelly under center. And Kelly again will keep it, and Kelly will be stopped for no gain that time, as that play really slow developing, and really the Tigers had, the Blue Devils had it snuffed the whole way.
Well, Corey Davison came in and really stuffed the hole up and did a good job for the Blue Devils, forcing the Rockwood Tigers to punt the ball away on fourth down, and back deep is Wesley Barger to receive. And CR, if you're listening out there and watching, we're glad to have you, C.R. Barger, tuned in. We understand that you're watching. Appreciate you watching Harriman Cablevision Channel 7.
David Collins, the punter for the Tigers. A low snap. Collins kick away is a low kick that will be returned by Barger as he gets it on the bounce at the 19-yard line. Sidesteps one Tiger, but then is hit by a host of Tigers at about the Blue Devil 24-yard line. So the Blue Devil defense holds on their first series. We'll turn it over to the offense, and for the Blue Devils, Jonathan Borum will be at the controls for Coach Mark Wattenbarger's Blue Devils.
Now, of course, you know, Ron, that he's only a sophomore this year, and he's really stepped in and matured quite a bit as he's taken over the helm of the Blue Devils for Coach Wattenbarger.
So for the Blue Devils, Boyd will be on the line at tight end. This time, Borum will hand it off to the first man through, Goins, and Goins will get out just over the 25-yard line for a gain of about 3.
Newby.
So Newby on the stop, as coming in for the Blue Devils will be Clemens, and Clemens goes wide to the left. In the slot will be Eskridge, as Barger and Goins in the split backfield. So Borum this time
Look here at the little reverse.
gives it
First
to
base.
Eskridge, and Eskridge is into the secondary. Eskridge is in the clear and is pulled down on a touchdown-saving tackle by Ramondi.
Ramondi.
So Ramondi on the tackle, but again, Tony, exactly what we were talking about. Linebackers have to stay home. A very disciplined defense to try to stop all of the motion and all of the reverse motion that you get from Coach Wattenbarger's offense.
Well, that's what happened then, as we talked about. They came right in the little crisscross reverse, and it worked again for big yardage. 1st and 10 on the 45.
Eskridge in motion. This time they give it on the little counter play this time to Barger, and Barger will get it out to about the 40-yard line of the Tigers. A gain of about 5. So it'll be 2nd down and 5. But again, misdirection. The key to Coach Wattenbarger's offense. And for the Tigers, at linebacker, White Wilson and Chris Mariano. This time, Borum gives around the right side to Barger, finds running room. Barger inside the 35. Ball will be marked down at about the Tiger 31-yard line. And, Tony, right now, the Blue Devils doing about anything they want offensively.
Well, Romano came in and made the stop then, but they sure are giving up an awful lot of yardages on these little plays. Now, you look for them again, though, Ron. They're going to come back with that little crisscross reverse again. It's been about 3 plays since they've run it.
And Eskridge in the slot to the right where they like to run it out of. So Barger and Goins behind Borum. Borum this time, there's a little reverse. The Tigers play it well that time, as actually coming up for the Tigers was Kevin Fisher to make first contact, and then he was put away by McElhaney.
So they read it this time. Maybe Rockwood, Coach Gentry's listening to us down there up here calling the plays, but the Rockwood Tigers did a good job that time. Wilson, a freshman coming in here, starting for Coach Gentry. We'll be calling his name a little bit tonight, it appears. So once again, the Blue Devils bring it to the line, about a loss of about a yard. Then it'll be 2nd down and 11 as Borum brings his team to the line once more.
Again, Eskridge in the slot to the right. This time Borum gives it straight ahead to Wilson, who comes in at fullback. And Wilson bangs his way across the 30 as McElhaney makes initial contact, and then coming up from the linebacker position is Mariano to put the finishing touch on him. Be 3rd down and about 7, Tony, with 6:46 left. First quarter of play here at Wallace Blackfield.
Well, Wilson comes into fullbacker slot there and picks up 4 yards. He's usually good for that. Pretty good sized fellow. His mom and dad sitting over here watching him, and they said they had the TV VCR going tonight.
Borum back to pass, stumbled a little bit coming out, throws the football down, man open, but a good play down for the Tigers by Josh Holloway. So Holloway comes in at the last second to break up the pass. And, Tony, that was a big play because 3rd down.
Well, if that hadn't been broken up by Holloway, that's a touchdown. So, it's an extremely big play. Mark that one down because that puts the Tigers 4th and about 7 at the 28-yard line.
Of course, in 4-down territory, as you're probably a little far out for a field goal, so Coach Wattenbarger is going to go for this. So Wilson and Barger, the running backs, Eskridge in the slot.
You reckon the crisscross is coming, or is he going to pass?
Barger back to throw. Barger with running room. Barger, Borum, and Borum's going to be short of a 1st down. And, Tony, that's where the sophomore quarterback needs a little more experience, because on 4th down, you don't cut it up the field unless you know you can get the 1st down. He's nowhere near it. The Tigers in a big momentum swing here, holding them on 4th down.
Roy Majors did a good job coming up, putting the hit to Borum, the sophomore quarterback. So on 4th down, that'll put it Tiger ball, 1st and 10, as the official spotted on about the 24-yard line. So each team has had the ball for a defensive or an offensive stand here, but see what the Tigers can do in their 2nd possession of the 1st quarter with 5:37 remaining.
Holloway wide to the right, Kirkham in motion. This time Kelly down the right side, quick pitches it back to Ewing. Ewing trying to find running room, he can't. Good defensive effort that time
by Roy Boyd. He's a junior.
Tony, it looks like the Tigers are having trouble getting the play in motion quick enough. It looks like it's very, very slow developing, and the Blue Devils are just too quick. Coming up very quickly was Boyd that time, and there's nowhere to go.
Well, you know, they read it real well, and Boyd came up and then put a good hit on him. A loss of about 4, going to be second down 14.
Reynolds wide to the left this time for the Tigers. Kelly again gives it to the first man through, and that's Danielle Raimondi, but only about a 5-yard gain as Raimondi gets across right to the 25-yard line. It's going to be third down and 9.
And Corey Davison, the junior, comes in and makes a good stop. But important play there, Ron, was that you know, they just got back. It's third and 9, so you know they'll have to have big yardage here or turn the ball over quickly.
Coach Wartenberger bringing in another defensive back, Barger replacing Bridges, so he thinks the Tigers are going to throw it. He brings in another backer to take care of a person coming out of the backfield. So Kelly directing the Tigers on third and 9. The snap, they come the other way. They give it inside to Packy Newby, and Newby finds the going tough again for the Blue Devils.
Daniel Wilson. And to see who the other one getting up there is.
Well, Sampson came in from his defensive end position, and Petticord looks like he may have hurt a hand, Tony. Well, he's holding his hand.
He's holding on to it, but Petticord and Wilson both did a good job then.
So David Collins will be back in punt formation for the Tigers with 3:40 left in the first quarter of play, and the Blue Devils would appear to be able to get pretty good field position on this exchange. As Collins picks up the bouncing snap, he'll get the kickoff, and Barger will pick it up at the 35. Barger down the sidelines, and the Blue Devils will have the football first and 10 at their own 48-yard line. So, Tony, what we said the Tigers couldn't happen is fixing to happen with the Blue Devils. They're only about 54 yards from pay dirt, so let's see if the Tigers once again can dig in and stop the Blue Devils.
Zach Collett goes over to make the tackle, and you see the Blue Devils going to have it first and 10. Where are they spotting the ball? About the 47-yard line.
So it'll be first and 10 with 3:18 left here in the first quarter of play. No score, the Blue Devils with the football. And Minot goes wide to the left. Eskridge is in the slot. Wilson and
fumble.
Barger as the snap is fumbled, and it will be retained by the Blue Devils as Borum that time can't make a clean exchange. He'll lose about 2 yards. It'll be second down and about 12.
Sagato, the sophomore running back, coming into the lineup for the Blue Devils, along with Roy Clemens, the defensive end. Split end.
Good crowd on hand here tonight, Tony, to watch this exciting high school football rivalry.
Well, you know, it's one of the oldest in the state, starting in 1921.
Clemens goes wide to the left, and this time they'll split. Sagato, this time Borum back to pass, being rushed, gets away, has a man down the field, Wilson. Wilson picks the football up and will be knocked out of bounds at about the Tiger 45-yard line. So that time, Borum escaped the rush of Zach Collett. Good play, got the pass off.
Anthony McLean put a hurting over here on somebody over here as he came in and gave Borum a little help as he come around to sprint out for that pass. He really put a hit on somebody.
It's going to be third down and about 4 for the Blue Devils at the Tiger 45-yard line. Again, Clemens goes wide to the left. This time, the Blue Devils in a full straight T backfield. They give it off to Barger, and Barger is hit and hit hard. And Barger will be hit by Brian Flanagan. As we're experiencing a little technical difficulty up here in the studio, but a big, big hit that time by senior Brian Flanagan. So this time McLean will be back in punt formation for the Blue Devils. The snap and the kick. The kick is a high straight-up kick, not much distance. That's going to be bouncing away, and it gets a Tiger bounce as the ball will
hit a Blue Devil.
Blue Devil at the 28-yard line. A good break for the Blue Devils as it hits Barger. And, Tony, I look tonight for the Tigers to try to come after a punt. It looks as though McLean takes a lot of time getting rid of the ball look for the Tigers to really try to come after one.
Well, Borum was trying to, he was the safety man back there for him, so he blocked two guys trying to keep him off of him while he was getting it off. Flag on the play back at the 25.
Well, and I think the flag, Tony, is going to be that a Blue Devil really touched the ball before the Tigers had a chance to, not that they were going to do anything with it, it just hit him on the foot before they had an opportunity. So this could be a 15-yard penalty, interference, and that's what it is,
Decline.
Tony. So it's going to be 1st and 10. So the Tigers don't want to re-kick it.
Well, so there must not be a penalty from there, you reckon, if they don't?
They're going to take it 1st down and 10 from their own 32-yard line. We have 1:38 left here in the first quarter of play. No score, as both teams offensively stymied thus far. This time the Tigers come out with no running backs. They've got them spread everywhere. As Kirkham and Holloway split wide to the left, Ewing split wide to the right, Kelly sprinting to the right looking for a receiver. Can't find one, so Kelly will tuck it and run, and Kelly will cross midfield if he didn't step out of bounds. They say he stepped out of bounds as they go back and mark it, and they'll mark it at the Tiger 43-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10. So that time the Tigers had people spread everywhere. Nobody behind Kelly.
Well, at the 43-yard lines where Nicky Estridge came over and just kind of tapped him a little bit, so must have just hit him on the line there somewhere as they brought the ball back.
So the Tigers trying to get something going. Ron Fisher split wide to the right. Kelly underneath the center. This time Kelly gives the ball off to Newby, and Newby may gain a yard. It's going to be tough going in there for the Tigers.
Did you see who looked like he just jumped all the way across those big arms is Anthony McLean?
Anthony McLean was all over him as a Blue Devil is down on the field, and it's going to be 2nd down and 8 with 56.80 seconds on this new Coca-Cola scoreboard.
That may be Roy Boyd, number 10, who's down over there. Is Coach, let's see, is that Coach Wartenberger going out and checking on him?
So, Tony, as we come down here, winding down to the end of the first quarter of play, both of these football teams defensively are playing pretty good football.
Well, you know, the Blue Devils probably have gained more yardage, but still the Tigers held them when they got down here to about the 30-yard line in their first possession. They moved the ball pretty well. But again, you know, good defensive plays and maneuvering and calls from both sides here. So
a new look from the Blue Devils, Tony, the first time we've seen them in the old straight T formation tonight. And Tony, Ashley Brandon has come into the Rockwood lineup. Now, he's a quarterback. He's probably going to line up as a running back. So let's look and see if this is where Coach Gentry perhaps may try a little trick of his own and perhaps hand off to Brandon Ashley and have Kelly come back the other way, the old quarterback throwback. Let's see.
Okay, again, Roy Boyd comes off under his own power, so glad to see that he's all right for the Blue Devils.
So Kelly has Fisher this time wide to the left, as this time Holloway gives it in a good running room for Packy as Newby stays on his feet and gets down to the Blue Devil 42-yard line. Good run by Packy Newby, as that time Kelly makes the right read, and Newby gets into the Blue Devil secondary, gets it all the way down to the 42-yard line. That's got to be a big confidence boost for these young Tigers.
Well, Dewey Sampson comes in from his defensive end slot and comes back. Okay, looks like we're going to have we had the replay. Is that what was said? Well, I didn't look at it, so I'm sorry.
Ben Poland under center for the Tigers. As this time Kelly goes to work, gives it to Newby the right side. This time Newby will lose.
Chris Bridges comes in and puts a hit to him along with Anthony McLean and Wilson.
So it's going to be a loss of 1. It'll be 2nd down and 11. It's coming into the football game for the Tigers will be Chris Mariano replacing Newby. As the officials say that's...
Well, the one of them's winding and the other one's stopping it, so I don't know if
they're 6.2, so we'll see. I doubt the Tigers will get this play off. That will be the end of the first quarter. Nothing down.
Well, that's a... You must have been watching Gallagher or whatever his name is. He's had a lot of that on TV lately.
David Kelly in the I formation. This time on the pitch back to Ewing. The ball's on the ground, and Ewing will, I don't know if he picked it up or not. Let's see. Ewing was fumbling. It looked like he was going to get it, but let's see. The officials say, yes, that the Tigers, Ben Poland, jumped on the football. So big break as it's going to be 3rd down and 15 as the Blue Devil defense that time rose to the occasion and played that one well.
Led by Chris Petticoat.
So a big 3rd down play now for the Blue Devil defense as they try to get the ball back offensively as Fisher comes wide to the right. Tigers now have Ewing as Kelly wants timeout.
Channel 7, a live production of Harriman Cablevision. New things coming for Harriman Cablevision Channel 7, so stay tuned.
Fisher comes wide to the right, this time Ewing in the slot. Kelly back on the screen, gets it to Ewing. Ewing with a lot of running room. Ewing getting out to the side, and Ewing's to the 30. Ewing will be knocked out of bounds at about the 7-yard line. So Coach Gentry with the screen pass at the appropriate time finds Greg Ewing, the freshman, and Ewing takes it all the way down to about the 8-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal for the Tigers.
Goins comes in and saves the touchdown. And
so,
here's a replay, Ron, of the big run as Kelly comes back. Pressure being put on by McLean.
Good move right there by Ewing to put the ball in the right side and get it down the sideline.
So we're back to live play now.
Newby on the handoff fighting for yardage, but it's awfully difficult to get as Petticoat comes up along with Sampson to make a good defensive play for the Blue Devils.
Well, Dewey Sampson comes in from his defensive end slot. He's a junior, doing a good job tonight. Petticoat also, we've mentioned his name several times tonight along with McLean. So the defense of Harriman really needs to dig in here now as that brings up 2nd down and goal. The ball's going to be spotted on about the 6-yard line.
Again, the Tigers now have Fisher split wide to the right. They'll give it to Newby. Now it passes it back out to Ramadi, and Ramadi will score. Good fake that time by David Kelly, and Ramadi out into the flat on the pass, and he'll take it into the end zone. So the Blue Devils, just like I did, Tony, took the bait, and Ramadi goes in untouched. Here you can see it on the replay. Good fake that time by Kelly. Then he just dumps it out there in the flat, and Ramadi takes it in. So Collins will try for the point after under the hold of Josh Holloway as Kevin Fisher will do the snapping. So the Tigers on the board first here tonight at Wallace Black Field. The snap is a good one. The kick is good. So with 10:02 left in the first half of play, the Rockwood Tigers 7, the Blue Devils nothing. And Tisa doing a good job on the replay, so she'll have it ready for us here. As now on the little looping kick, the Tigers will get it over to Eskridge, and Eskridge with some running room will get it out to the Blue Devil 40-yard line. And because of the trouble that the Tigers have had on the kicking game, Coach Gentry kicking it high and short, but the Blue Devils get it at the 40-yard line.
Here it is.
Now watch, see? He's about 3 yards deep.
And he just kind of hooks it over there, too. Not really a pitch, but a hook.
Good work in the truck, folks. 1st and 10 Blue Devils. The ball at their own 40-yard line. Now look for Coach Wattenbarger to open it up, Tony.
Well, Borum comes to the line. We'll see what Mark has sent in. Wanting to get some scores on the board.
Eskridge and Goins, as Eskridge gets the football, and he squirts loose across the 45-yard line up to about the 47. So on 1st down, the Blue Devils are going to pick up about 6 yards. So bringing the plays in from Coach Wattenbarger will be Dante Love replacing Barger.
Well, Ron, we got something new here. I want you to look. The scores are being showed, Rockwood in green and Harriman in blue.
That's the technology of Harriman Cablevision. Borum under center as Love is in the slot. This time it'll come over to Eskridge, and Eskridge on a good defensive play that time will be stopped for about a gain of 1. As Collett in on the play. along with Wilson. So the Tigers have the Blue Devils in a 3rd down and 5 situation. The ball at the Blue Devil 46-yard line. Big play now for both of these football teams as the Blue Devils try to keep this drive going. Minot splits wide to the right. Barger in the slot for the Blue Devils. Borum on the little reverse to Barger. Barger squirts through and gets free. Barger still on his feet, and Barger will be slung down by Holloway, but not until Barger gets to the Tiger 36-yard line. Big play, Harriman Blue Devils.
Well, Josh Holloway did a good job stopping Barger because Barger had some running room, and he had already come over here and broke loose. And here's the replay, Ron. As you can see, he broke a tackle there, and Barger comes around. Here comes Holloway, grabs him by the shirt, or he's going for another 7 or 8 yards. So good job there by Holloway. Good running by Wesley Barger.
And again, Tony, the linebackers have to stay home on this Harriman Blue Devil offense. Coming out wide to the left is Clemens. Goins fumbles the ball, and the Tigers have it. So on the fumble exchange, McElhaney picks it up for the Tigers, and just as the Blue Devils, Tony, gaining momentum offensively, the old fumble hits them again this week.
Well, the same thing that hurt them last week. You can't put the ball on the ground and expect to win football games. You know, they've got to control it better. They've got to keep it. They've got to tuck it away.
So the Tigers go to work offensively now under the encouragement of Coach Roger Gentry. Ben Poland brings the Tigers to the line of scrimmage. David Kelly under center. Nobody back behind Kelly. Everybody split wide to the left, wide to the right. Here comes Kelly. Sprinting out. Kelly being pursued. Kelly will not get away. Kelly is hit.
Coming out to hit him is Chris Bridges.
And he just ran out of room. The Blue Devils did a good job that time, Tony, of stringing it out.
Well, they kept coming back. They saw that one player couldn't get it as he was trying to hustle around there. So the Blue Devils came back to home, and Bridges came in and finally brought him down to 35. That's going to be a loss of about 4. Brings up 2nd down at about 14.
So big play for the Blue Devil defense as the Tigers now come out offensively as Fisher comes wide to the right. Kelly under center. This time quick pitch back to Ewing. Ewing gets by one. Ewing gets into the secondary. Ewing gets it all the way back out to the Tiger 46-yard line. So a big run by Greg Ewing picks up the loss, plus it'll bring up 3rd down and about 4, Tony.
Well, Borum tried to get him over here, and he kind of overran him a little bit, and then coming in to tackle him at about the 44 was Rob Hope.
Greg Ewing is going to be a fine football player, Tony. He's a freshman and sort of being thrown to the wolves early here in his career.
Well, he'll grow up quick, won't he?
The Tigers ask for timeout with 6:19 left here in the Ewing. Kelly, the quarterback. Kelly gives it to Newby, and Newby has the 1st down as he gets it all the way into Blue Devil territory, down to the Blue Devil 46-yard line.
Carlton Goins, a junior, comes in from his defensive back.
So the Tigers now, Tony, content on just busting through, giving it to the first man through. That seems to be the read that's open right now, and they're taking advantage of the 5 and 6 yards per carry.
Well, that's what they need to do. They just come in and get their game plan going. If that's what works for them, continue it. And it seems like they're doing a pretty good job of it. And the defense has got to suck in as, again, the same play on the left side comes back through again. As Newby runs the ball and coming up, and once again is Goins on the tackle. So picking up 4 and 5 yards every time as that brings up 2nd down.
Well, they got 8 about
3.
that time, Tony.
Yep.
So, you know, the exact same play, exact same formation. So Coach Gentry's taking the philosophy, as you say, you know, stop it and we'll run something else.
Go somewhere else, yeah.
So this time Fisher goes to the left, Steele to the right. So the formation changed a little bit as Kelly still under center as Ewing and Newby, the running backs. So Kelly under center. This time a little trouble on the exchange, but Kelly breaking into the secondary on the keeper, and Kelly will get it down to the Blue Devil 27-yard line. And right now, the Tigers enjoying good success offensively.
Well, Goins comes in to make the stop then, but, you know, they're giving up those 6 and 7 yard. First, it was 3 and 4 yard runs. Now the Tigers have stretched it out to 7 and 8 yard runs. So, you know, the Tigers have come alive offensively here with 5 minutes remaining in the 2nd quarter of action. and the Blue Devils going to have to dig in here.
So now in the I formation. So another new look for the Tigers as Kelly. This time tries again to give it. He'll give it off to Newby, and this time the Blue Devils are there. The Blue Devils on the left-hand side of the line that time come up and put the stop as McLean is there along with Bridges and Petticourt.
Well, you know, there's three pretty good guys up front to make those stops, so they're adjusting too, reading the plays and coming in and making the stop, so that brings up 2nd down and 11.
As coming into the football game for the Tigers now is Daniel Raimondi. Fisher comes wide to the right, so Raimondi and Newby, the running backs. Kelly under center, that's Ben Poland. So this time Kelly gives it to Newby, and Newby again into the secondary, and Newby will be down to the Blue Devil 20-yard line as, again, just a little different look, as this time they ran almost a little counter as they got misdirection from Newby, and Newby cuts it back. It'll be 3rd down and about 4, and again here, Tony, now in 4-down territory.
Well, what kind of plays Gentry? If Brillo was in here, he could tell us exactly what they're going to run. He called the play when they were in this shape all
They're
ago.
going to line up in the I formation, so I would look for them to go back to the little option that they had success with. Look for Kelly to go to Newby, and there he's going to throw it back. Good play. As this time Ewing has it out on, oh, that's Raimondi. Raimondi breaks a tackle and he'll score. So that time, they tried the same thing. They gave it to Newby on the left side and then had Raimondi going to the right. Great play calling that time as all of the Blue Devils were going to the right. Coach Gentry really fired up on the sideline. Raimondi breaks one tackle. Here it is on the replay. You'll see him break a tackle right here. And from there on in, it's clear sailing the last 15 yards.
Look at this good block that they put on Jenkins right here. They put a good block on Jenkins as he comes in, not being able to make the tackle.
So David Collins will try again for the point after, as Holloway will hold. Fisher will snap. So the snap is down, the kick is up, the kick is good. So the Tigers with 3:16 left in physical play right now there. That ball bounced around there for a long time.
Goins the ball, or fielded the ball at the 25, going to carry it up to about the 34-yard line. So the Blue Devils will have it 1st down and 10 at their own 34 with 3 minutes remaining in the first half of action here. Coach Wattenbarger wanting to get something going offensively for his team, even though they've had some pretty good offensive series, just not being able to put any points on the board.
Well, the wake-up call needs to go out to the Blue Devils now, Tony, as Borum brings his team to the line of scrimmage. Minot splits wide to the left. Again, a fumble snap. The ball's loose. And
I believe the Tigers have that.
The Tigers have it. So another bad exchange, and Zach Collett on top of Borum. And Tony, now Borum looks as though he's not getting a snap. He looks as though something is happening between the exchange. And it may be number 64, Zach Collett.
Okay. Our statistician, Charlie Shannon, just telling us this is almost a replay of last week's game. 4 fumbles. They've lost 2 of them. One of the fumbles resulted in a touchdown for the Tigers, and now they've got the fumble recovery at the 36 or the 33-yard line, and you know, wanting to hit some more pay dirt here.
And Roger Gentry may go for it early, Tony. He is. He's going back. Kelly's back to pass, and he'll have to throw it away. As that time Sampson does a great job, and that's just another mental mistake on the part of the Blue Devils, Tony, because Kelly was throwing it away. McLean had him dead. Kelly was throwing the ball over into the stands, and then McLean hit him. So a mental mistake for the Blue Devils, and it's going to give the Tigers 15 yards, and that's going to put them down really in excellent position with 2:03 left. Big, big play.
And there's the official with the indication as McLean came in with the hit. The official on top of it thought that it was too rough as he throwed the quarterback Kelly down to the ground after he got.
Sampson had done just a great job out on the secondary of taking Ewing, the screen man. He was completely away. Kelly saw it, was going to throw the ball away, and then was hit. And Tony, this gets it down to about the 17-yard line.
What it does, it's a 15-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage, so that's going to be automatic 1st down.
And no time off the clock.
That's exactly right. We've still got 2 minutes. So the Tigers are going to have the ball deep in the Blue Devil territory down at about the 12-yard line. As that flag was thrown, to show you how important that play was, the official having to go back and pick the flag up at the 57-yard line.
So Reuben Reynolds into the football game, split wide to the right for the Tigers. Kirkham, the tight end, set to the right side. Kelly, this time off to Mariano. And the Blue Devils make the stop at about the 12-yard line.
But not after gaining 5 yards, though, Ron.
So
the Tigers just eating away at the defense of the Blue Devils. Right now, as coming into the ball game is Clayton Burgess for Harriman, and he'll be replacing Petticord. So Coach Wartenbarger and Coach Bailey trying to get something going here to get these kids awake here, or they're going to be deep in the hole just exactly the way they were last week. Tiger score here be identical.
So this time Newby almost breaks it as he got to the outside and was fighting for the secondary as Davison comes up to make a big play for the Blue Devils. So Newby, skirting off the right side, was almost able to break it. But Davison on a good play for the Blue Devils. It'll be 3rd and about 2. But again, Tony, with 14-0 lead, a minute left, 4 down territory.
Yep. So third and 1, I guess it is right now.
So again, Kelly with Ewing and Newby. This time, Kelly gets stuck in traffic, and the Blue Devils are there to swarm him down. And that's a big play for the Blue Devils. That's 46 seconds left, as the Tigers are going to have to get them a play in and get it in a hurry.
There for the Blue Devils was Sampson, Corey Davison, and Daniel Wilson.
And not sure what's going to take place here unless we're just going to go on 4th and 2. He's going to go for the field goal. He's going to let the clock run down and kick the field goal here, Tony, to try to close out the first half of play. Attempt for David Collins as a flag is dropped, and that's generally too much time, but a timeout was called, so let's see what happens.
That can't be unless somebody's lined up in the neutral zone.
We've got 12 men. Illegal procedure against the Blue Devils. Tony, that's a first down. There's too many men on the field. There's 12 men on the field. That's going to be a first down for the Tigers now.
And half the distance of the goal.
Half the distance.
Well, does he
now
still
Coach Gentry now?
I'd call a timeout and think about it, I believe.
Well, he's gonna kick it, but he's got another 2 plays now if he wants them. But he's going to kick it.
Well, he's the coach. See what happened. I believe I'd think about it here just a little bit.
He must not have any timeouts left. As a statistician, no timeouts.
No timeouts left, so that's the reason.
It just moves it that much closer. It's going to be a 20-yard field goal attempt. It's going to be a fake.
He's smarter than all of them.
Holloway on the run. Holloway scores. Josh Holloway, as Coach Gentry out on the field, says, boys, if you'll just stay in the booth and let me do the calling, I'll take charge.
And Anthony McLean is hurt as he gets up slowly for the Blue Devils.
Now,
but you're right.
All of this goes back.
Look at Gentry. Can we get a shot at Coach Gentry?
All of this goes back, Tony, to the roughing the passer play that the Blue Devils had defense.
Now look here at Coach Gentry as he walks back and forth. He's throwing
settled down a little bit. And now for the point after, Holloway will hold. And I'm not sure with all the excitement that Holloway
has. Go for 2. He might do it again.
But
he might go for 2 here.
And the Blue Devil fans, Tony, are stunned. They're sitting here trying to figure out what's going on.
Well, they're seeing a repeat of last week's games, Ron, is what they're doing. And the kick's up, and it's good. And once again, Anthony McLean slow to get up on this series. Well, we've still got Sexton Automotive Group, the Kmark, along with Rockwood Electric Utility, with Winnie's High Tech, and of course Davis Funeral Home in Harriman. And now here for the second half action, Ron Berry.
Well, Collins is going to kick it short over to Sampson, and Sampson takes it on about the 30 and gets it up to about the 37. So Coach Gentry again not going to jeopardize a long run by the Blue Devils on a kickoff return. So the Tiger defense will go to work now as the Harriman Blue Devils will have it 1st and 10 at their own 39-yard line. So the Tigers going to work on the first defensive series here in the second half, leading 21-0. Coach Wartenbarger now will be anxiously awaiting to see how his troops respond to second half play. Minot comes wide to the left as the Blue Devil fans being encouraged by the players. As Borum gets away, is going to keep the football, gets nice running room across their 45 out to about the 47-yard line. Good fake that time by Borum as he comes out to the left. and carries it up for about a 7-yard gain. So nice play
Well, he
by
had
Jonathan Borum.
You reckon that was an option play? He appeared to have plenty of options, and he acted like he was going to pitch it back, acted like he was going to throw it, then just tucked it and run it.
Well, I think you're probably right, Tony. They're probably, trying to put some additional pressure on these linebackers, and he could have done either of those 3 options. As Minot goes wide to the right this time, Barger is in the slot to the left. Wilson at the fullback slot. Borum this time gets it off to Wilson. Don't know how. And again, Tony, that's where some of this exchange. Zach Collett was on Borum that time almost before he made the handoff, and Borum's coming over telling Coach Wattenbarger, you see, I can hardly get the football. Zach Collett is really so quick on the snap that it's causing problems between the center and the quarterback.
Well, I've got an update here that they've just given us over here at halftime. Webb and Sweetwater tied at 7. Has Webb got an improved team?
Tell you, this whole region, Tony, is going to be tough from week to week. They're going to measure for the first down here as Wilson on the handoff from Borum gets it down. It's going to be a little short, about 4 or 5 inches. It'll be 3rd down and about a half a foot. So again, Zach Collett, Tony, just as we anticipated, probably needs to be credited with some of those fumbles from center. He is quick as a cat. He's either anticipating the count right or he's getting awful lucky one here, because he has absolutely been all over the Blue Devil backfield.
McLean, is center, and we've mentioned the fact that he's been slow getting up, so it could be that he's having a problem there.
Wilson around the right side will pick up the first down as he gets it across midfield, down to the Tiger 48-yard line. And, Tony, the other thing now that the Blue Devils don't need to do is get in a hurry. Lots of time. They need to take it and do what they're used to doing, and that's eating up big chunks of yardage. Get back in this football game.
Well, 21 points isn't much. The Tigers scored 21 and a half. They can score 21 and a half, too, and make this a barn burner.
Eskridge in the slot to the right as Borum this time on the little reverse, and this time the Tigers had it stopped, but Eskridge gets away, gets it down. Instead of about a 3-yard loss, Eskridge scoots down and gets it down to the Tiger 47-yard line, a gain of about 1. But they had him for a loss, Tony, as that time.
Well, that's what's so good about that play. They can do that and keep scampering around like that. So a big play here by the Blue Devils as they come in and pick up 2nd down and 9.
Flanagan upset with himself for not finishing off the play.
A little bit out of position then, though.
2nd down and 8 for the Blue Devils. Borum back to pass. Quick pitch,
Wide
gets
open.
it out to Clemens. Clemens on a good move. Clemens breaks down into the secondary and gets it all the way down to the Tiger 28-yard line. So Roy Clemens on the little quick pass from Jonathan Borum makes a real nifty little move down here to gain another 7 or 8 yards.
Well, Greg Ewing, along with Holloway, come in and do the honors of bringing him down, but not until he picks up the first down. It'll be 1st and 10 as they spot the ball about the 27-yard line.
Minot wide to the left as Wilson and Barger in the backfield. This time, again, Borum, after he gets the ball off to Wilson. Wilson with the score.
Oh, brought him down at the 5-yard line.
But again, Zach Collett all over Borum. I don't know how he got away with it.
I don't see how he got the ball handed off to Wilson. Wilson, big old fellow, comes running through there. He's pulled down from behind at the 5-yard line where it's going to be 1st and goal for the Blue Devils. So this is what the Blue Devils wanted it to happen. The fans are getting excited. And here's a replay, Ron, as you see exactly what you're talking about. The defender right on top of Borum as there goes Wilson, and he's brought down from behind at the 5-yard line. Back to live action now. The Tigers are in their goal line defense as Borum, the quarterback for the Blue Devils, once again brings his team to the line, trying to score. Barger slips and falls, and the ball's on the ground. The Tigers have picked it up. He's going to go if Borum doesn't stop him, Ron.
And David Kelly picks the ball up. Now it's loose again, and the Tigers retain possession. What a bizarre play. Tony, they line up again in the full house backfield. Straight T formation. Barger goes to the right. The ball squirts loose. The Tigers pick it up. And Coach Wattenbarger now standing in dismay. He can't believe that this is happening to his football team.
Well, Coach Gentry can't hardly believe that either as he's looking over here. Neither one of them can hardly believe it as the ball is fumbled. Again, here it is again as he picks it up, comes around, Borum hits it.
Then it's fumbled again, the ball laying on the ground.
And Rockwood loses about 5 yards. Again, another replay here, Ron. No, we're back to live action now as we come through.
Kelly gives it off to Newby, and Newby just bores through the line of scrimmage on the right side. Great run by Patrick Newby as he just pulls players with him, and he gains about 6 yards, Tony, and the last 3 were just brute strength.
Well, that offensive set there has to take a lot of the wind out of the Blue Devils. The fans were all up, the players were up, and now then you got this big key fumble on the 5-yard line to come in. You know, you're almost guaranteed to score them. Nothing drastic doesn't happen. The unthinkable happens.
Kelly under center again. They go right back to Newby, and Newby that time gets it out to about the 35, close to the first down. Tony, how important is it not to give up? You know, they stop him on the 5, and Harriman comes away with nothing. So from a defensive standpoint, you have to stop them. You have to go as hard as you can the entire way. Holloway comes over, makes a big stop on Wilson to prevent the score. We thought he was in.
Well, he sure looked like he had enough momentum, but he comes in, grabs him from behind to bring him down. We've got another halftime score. It's Cumberland County 7, Clinton 6. So Coach Mark Pemberton trying to get his second win of the year at Cumberland County. Oh, good pass then. It's complete down to the 44-yard line, and that's going to be good for the first down, huh?
Well, Sam Kirkham on the catch, and Tony, if that pass was up to where Kirkham can continue running, he may still be running.
That's right, because he was wide open. So it appears that the handles are coming off here for the Blue Devils if they don't stop this drive. 6:50 remaining, 21-0 is your score in the third quarter of action here at Wallace Black Field.
Fisher coming wide to the right for the Tigers as Kelly is underneath center. Same play as Kelly just follows Newby into the line that time.
Corey Davison and Daniel Wilson come in for the stop.
But the important thing, Donnie, that this drive is doing is eating the clock up. 6:20 left in the third quarter of play, and the Tigers still have the football with a 2nd down and 7. So clock is being eaten up by the Tigers as Reynolds comes wide to the right, Fisher to the left.
Coming off is Petticord.
As Kelly looking over the defense, they'll give it to Newby on a little misdirection. That time Newby has running room. Newby is loose down the left sidelines, and a saving tackle over there by McDonald for the Blue Devils. As Newby that time just squirted back on the little misdirection, Tony, and it's caused the Blue Devils a lot of trouble tonight.
Well, a lot of it's going the Rockwood Tigers' way now as they come around with the replay. You can see that he brings him down at about the 32-yard line on a good run. Just taking advantage of all the miscues that Harriman's having. And Coach Gentry, I'm telling you what, really doing some good coaching over here from the sidelines. We got an update from Livingston. It's the Kingston Yellow Jackets 7, Livingston 0, first quarter of action.
Reynolds splits wide to the right for the Tigers. Kelly, this time down the right side.
Coming from behind to tackle him is Rob Hope. First time we've mentioned Rob tonight.
So it will be after a gain again, Tony. Didn't look like much, but it's going to be 4 yards.
And, you know, that's the game plan now, Coach Gentry. If you can pick up 4 and 5 yards every time with 5 minutes remaining in third quarter and you got to lead 21-0, you want to keep it on the ground, eat that clock up, and really try to get these Blue Devils down. On the other hand, the Blue Devils wanting to cause fumbles, and you can't. It's hard to cause them when you're just running straight up the gut like that.
So a one-back offense this time. The set as Kelly looking back to pass. Kelly with time finds a man open, incomplete. As Daniel Ramonde,
and he's down,
was open, just not able to connect. And Ramonde stays on the ground. Let's see. As there'll be a timeout, official's timeout, to check on the condition of Daniel Ramonde. Must have just come down on the shoulder
or something. Anthony McLean really putting the pressure on the quarterback Kelly, then trying to get it off. And again, shows how much we know, or I know about football up here, talking about keeping it on the ground and trying to run the clock off. And then as soon as I get it out, Coach Gentry calls a passing play.
Well, they had that one set up, though, Tony. They'd run, that's the first pass they had thrown other than the little look-in there in some time. And
It may just be the second pass of the whole ball game for Rockwood.
no, they had the one for the score out here on the 2 scores, so they've had a couple.
They've had 2.
So now back to the I formation. They've had good success out of this formation tonight. This time Kelly just gives it on the pitch to Ewing, and the Blue Devils are there. As that time probably the read man was Newby. Newby had a good running room up the middle, but the pitch went to Ewing, and the Blue Devils have good defensive pressure.
Might have lost about a yard then. That's going to bring up 4th down, and I'd say that somebody will call timeout, and indeed Rockwood wants to look at things.
They back the pass, throws it out in the flat to Ewing. Ewing escapes one man. Can he get around? No. As Borum comes up to make a big hit, Ewing evaded the first man, but was not able to get to the outside. The Blue Devils hold, and it'll be 1st and 10 Blue Devils with 4:21 left, 3rd quarter. Tigers 21, Blue Devils nothing. Tony, big play.
Well, it sure was, and, Coach Gentry, he didn't, that was a good call on Coach Gentry to try to play that because kicking the ball wasn't really amount to a whole lot. So if you make it, you just pull out another one and people brag on him again. But I'm telling you, he's getting excited over there. I like his style.
Aaron Tuggle in at defensive tackle for the Tigers now. As Borum brings his team to the line of scrimmage and the official calling timeout, as Harriman Blue Devils want timeout.
The Kingston Yellow Jackets come down to Rockwood next Friday night to play down at Civitan Field. So, going to get them charged up here for a big
to go after this one as Collett comes right up.
Did you see him go over the top?
And Collett is a wild man tonight, and it's going to take a Tiger bounce, and it's going to bounce and be blown dead on Blue Devil side of the field. Zach Collett absolutely flying in the air.
See if we can get a replay of that right.
And I'm sure that had to be on Kirkham is incomplete. So Coach Gentry on this series trying to open things up right off the bat.
Now, Ron, look at the replay. Look here, climbing right over the top he comes as he gets the kickoff. I'm telling you what enthusiasm.
And that's the player of the week, first game.
The last Coca-Cola game of the week.
And as you recall, Collett said, I will be back.
That's exactly right. So we're down to 2:04 in the 3rd quarter. The score, the Rockwood Tigers 21. There's a flag on the play out there, Ron. What a late flag looked like. I didn't see what happened then, did you?
Well, I was watching the replay. Here it is. It's declined as an illegal receiver was downfield. So it's going to be 2nd down and 10. And I'm not sure I would have declined that one, Tony, because I'm not sure. I'm not going to say. I thought it was a loss of down, but maybe it's not.
Must not be. 2nd down. Or he'd have took it, surely.
Anyway, Holloway's out to the right. This time, good defensive play as Newby gets the football.
He's still up.
He is going to be crunched. Good defensive play that time by the Blue Devils. The bottom of the pile, Corey Davison.
On the rest of the pile, Rob Hope and Petticord.
So it's going to be 3rd down and about 11 as the Blue Devils. One thing about it, Tony, when the Blue Devils read them right,
they've read
for a
them,
loss of yards.
Yeah.
So Holloway goes wide to the left this time. Reynolds wide to the right. Kelly has Ewing and Newby in the split backfield. Kelly back to pass. Looking down the field, it's going to be way overthrown as Holloway has no chance. Goings on the defensive side for the Blue Devils. It'll be 4th and 11, and the Tigers will punt from this situation as David Collins comes in for the Tigers to do the punting chores. Back deep will be Barger, but I'm sure that Collins probably will try to kick away from Barger. Ewing is the blocking back for the Tigers. Snap is a good one. Collins' kick is right to Barger. Barger will have some running room as he gets outside, and he's hit.
Oh, he's smothered at the 15.
And Dwight Wilson, the first man down, along with David Kelly. So the Tigers do a good job on the punt coverage, and the Blue Devils will have it 1st and 10, the ball at the 18-yard line. But, Tony, 58 seconds left, 3rd quarter now. That was a big, big series on time for the Tigers.
Well, they've had it the majority of it. I don't know if he's got it or not.
So with 50 seconds left in the third quarter, the Blue Devils down 21-0, bring the ball to the line of scrimmage. Clemens wide to the right. Borum back to pass, looking in, he's got Clemens wide open. Clemens to the 30, and Clemens will have it about to the 32-yard line, and a penalty is going to be assessed, maybe face mask. Let's see what it is. An additional yardage will be assessed on the play as the flag is thrown with 31 seconds left, and the penalty will be face mask against the Tigers. So add on another 15, big penalty.
Maybe their first penalty.
As Coach Gentry shouting instructions from the sideline for the Tigers.
Rockwood's first penalty of the ball game.
Coming in for the Blue Devils is John Segato as Borum gets the play. 29 seconds left, probably one more play unless it's an incomplete pass. First and 10 for the Blue Devils, the ball at the Blue Devil 47-yard line. Segato in the slot for the Blue Devils, coming in motion. Borum this time will pitch it out to Segato, flag down. Segato with running room gets it down to the Tiger 42, but a flag is thrown and it probably will come back.
It's probably offsides as the line judge throwed that right there at the line.
Illegal motion.
Yep.
So right in front of the side judge, bring it back with 4.5 seconds left in the third quarter. Once again, a big gain for the Blue Devils, negated by a motion penalty.
Well, again, just shooting themselves in the foot here just every time. You know, they're going to have to. There's a replay. As you can see, he comes down to the 45, down to the 42-yard line. But bring it all back because of that gentleman right there who threw the laundry. It was offside, or motion. As the third quarter comes to a close, your third quarter score, the Rockwood Tigers 21, the Harriman Blue Devils 0. We'll be back in action, 21-0, Rockwood in the lead here tonight as the Harriman Blue Devils will have it first and 10 at their own 42-yard line.
Segato in motion. Borum along the right side, now pitches it back to Segato. It's going to be out of bounds on the pitch. So it'll remain in the possession of the Blue Devils, but it will be a gain of about, I can't see it's going to be a gain of
a couple yards.
It's going to be second down and about 14. As we start fourth and final quarter action here at Wallace Black Field. Borum now in the hurry-up offense. Segato in motion again to the left. Borum on the little delayed reverse gives it over to Barger, and Barger crosses midfield just inside Tiger territory.
Kirkham on the stop that time.
And the clock now becoming a big factor. The Tigers 21, the Blue Devils nothing. 11:30 left in this football game. As Coach Wattenberger looking on as his team has been, again, sieged with penalties and turnovers in this football game. Barger in the slot as Borum back to pass. Quick pass over to Clemens. Clemens is complete, and Clemens gets down to about the Tiger 37-yard line. Tony, that pass has been there all night.
Well, he's been open every time. You know, they did it a while ago and got a call back on a penalty, but this time it's good. No penalties down. They pick up the first down. They'll have it first and 10 at the Tigers' 37-yard line. So the crowd coming alive just a little bit here as they're trying to get something going here to encourage the Blue Devils on.
So McLean gets to the line of scrimmage to snap to Borum. Barger in the slot. Borum back to pass. Looking for Minot down the right side. The ball is in the air. The ball is caught for grabs, and it's caught by Minot. What a catch. Minot and Ewing went up in the air together, and Minot comes away with a catch. Great catch by Jason Minot. Let's see if we can put that on replay. Well, you'll see what a great catch that is. First and goal for the Blue Devils. The ball will be marked at the Tiger 4-yard line. Great catch as Borum just put the ball up in the air for Minot, and Actually, Ewing was in great
They
position.
were both in good possession, but Monty comes down with it. Remember that he's a junior. 2 big passes that he's caught.
So in the goal line offense, Wilson gets the football, and he'll get it down to about the
Well, the ball's on the
30-yard line.
ground. Look coming out
Well, the
of it.
whistle, they say the whistle had blown. But in this situation, Tony, same thing that happened at Oliver Springs now as
Wait and see if they may not call the same, because that was Wilson running to the right. See if they call it again. Come back.
well, they're going to get out of it, I think, Tony, as Barger and Goins go in now and the linemen come out.
Well, somebody's down with a cramp.
So Harriman will have a timeout.
Can't see who that is.
This may
yet.
be a medical timeout, not a charge timeout.
Yeah, because he's got a. They were rubbing the calf there, which indicates a.
About 3 minutes left and a half.
Stretching around. He's either got him a. Yeah, there I can see it a little better on that monitor. They're kind of massaging it out.
Now they're
Probably
trying to
having
tell
cramp.
Rockwood if they want to get water on the field, they can do that. So they're going to have a. They're going to give both teams a chance here to
This is the last winner of the night.
get some water in. As
Rob Hope shaking up.
and now the official says, too late, boys, take the water back out. This isn't an official timeout. We were just going to let you sneak some on.
So Rob Hope shaking up. He comes off, trying to shake that out.
So first, and it's going to be 2nd and goal for the Blue Devils. 10 minutes left from the Tiger 4-yard line. As Barger and Goins in at the running backs, Eskridge in the slot. Borum back on the rollout,
got it.
being chased by Reynolds. Throws it into the end zone, touchdown.
Touchdown.
As McDowell has the ball for the Blue Devils, they score with 9:41 left for the football game.
That's got the Harriman fans up with something to shout about here with 9:41 remaining. So
Borum did a good job that time, Tony.
Well, he rolled
Continued
out.
to roll out.
Yeah.
Reynolds was closing in on him, but he kept his poise, got the football off, and completed the scoring pass.
And Rob Hope went back in the game and has come back out again, so he must be all right. So set to kick the point after as Barger holds. McLean will be the kicker. A bad snap. McLean's kicks up. It's good. So with 9:41 remaining in the ball game, your score: the Rockwood Tigers 21, the Harriman Blue Devils 7. Will be Blue Devils.
Well, and again, you know, when you look at total yards, Tony, the Blue Devils are impressive. It's just the fact that they have not been able to put it away. You know, they got to the 5-yard line and fumbled. So this is an important series for the Tigers. There's still 9:41 left in this football game.
Here's the replays. Borum's rolling out. Good pursuit by the Tigers, but Borum continues to run. There's the pass. It's good.
So McLean now will kick off for the Blue Devils. And the kick will come to Ewing. He take it at the 15. So Ewing trying to find running room, and he'll get it out to the 32 where he's hit.
Love on the stop. Dante Love.
So Love on the stop at the 32-yard line. So now the Blue Devils defense is going to be called upon, Tony, to give the Tigers 3 plays and get the ball back in the offensive hands of the Blue Devils. 9:27 left now. The clock is the biggest enemy the Blue Devils have. The Tigers, under the direction of Field General David Kelly. Kelly gives it off to Newby, and Newby really powering through the Devil defense. What turned out for no gain, Newby makes about 7 yards out of it. So good run. Well, give him 6 yards. Big run, Pappy Newby.
Well, they're riding him, but they're going to have to bring him down because, you know, this is what the Tigers are wanting to do. As Coach Gentry sends the plays in, they're eating the clock up. Again, staying on the ground, picking up 4 and 5, 6, 7 yards. Makes it second down in about 4. The ball's on the 37-yard line.
In the I formation now, as Kelly this time pulls it back, now pitches it to Eskridge, to Ewing. Good running run by Ewing, and Ewing is going to be pulled down by Love, but not until Ewing gets all the way down to the Blue Devil 44-yard line. So a good read that time by David Kelly on the option. Pitches it out to Ewing, and Ewing takes it down the right sideline for a first down.
And that's the big key, is a big first down. As we see the replay again, Love brings him down from behind right at the 45-yard line, call it the 46.
But it's 1st and 10 for the Tigers now. They lead 21-7, 8:24 left here in this football game. This time, Kelly again to Newby. The defensive Blue Devils do a good job that time of stacking Newby up. And once again, Tony, when they've stopped it, they generally stop it for a loss, and they've lost another half yard.
Well, but again, though, Ron, you know, you're under 8 minutes now, and they're running the ball 2nd and 10, 2nd and 11, a long 10. And it looks like one of the Blue Devils having a little equipment problem there. As he comes out, it's Burgess. Now they don't have anybody to replace him, so they're in and out. A little confusion there on the Blue Devils.
So Kelly, under center for the Tigers. This time a little misdirection again. This time the Blue Devils are there. That's the play that Newby has had pretty much success with tonight. But that time, Petticord is there for the Blue Devils, Tony.
Yeah, Petticord came in along with McLean, make the stop. That brings it 3rd and 10, 7:25 remaining in this ball game.
So, Tony, about 7 minutes will remain after this play, 3rd down and 10. So, you know, the Tigers, with a decent punt at all, would have the Blue Devils back to about the 15 or 20-yard line.
Sweetwater's just going ahead of Webb, they tell me.
Kelly back to pass. Looking for the screen, throws it up for grabs, and it's incomplete.
But there's flags everywhere. So we'll see what happens there.
And another flag as a fight breaks out.
Well, you don't ever want to see this. Is one thing about the Harriman side, and Coach Gentry holding the players back, but the Harriman kids stay on the field or off the field.
Tell you, Sam Kirkham doing a great job of getting over to his football player as well, so his teammate over there. And this is going to take some sorting out now as Coach Gentry grabs his players. And as you said, the Blue Devils stay on their side. This is, you know, you just don't like to see this kind of thing. The officials now, Tony, they may come up here and want to see our replay.
Well, I tell you what, they're going to sort things out because there's not an official anywhere with a flag left in his pocket.
Laundry everywhere. If you're in for a yellow flag, they're wholesaling them here tonight as Coach Gentry goes out now and the official tells him to get off the field. They'll have to sort this thing out. So, flags everywhere. Now, let's get started. Now, Tony, that's a dead ball flag at the end in 15. The ball at the Tiger 49-yard line. Tigers in the I formation. Kirkham in motion, quick pitch to Ewing. Ewing has some running room across midfield, and he'll get it down to about the Blue Devil 47-yard line, a gain of about 4 as they closed quickly on Ewing.
Well, McLean came in there just real fast as he came in. Then Corey Davison came around over here to make a good block, and they're trying to make the tackle also. So they pick up a little bit, but that makes it 4th down, 12 looks like from here, a long 12 probably.
So the clock running with 6:30 left, and David Collins has not appeared on the field yet to punt the ball away. No play being sent in, so Coach Gentry must be going to stop the clock. Timeout. There it is. So he'll waste the timeout to get the punting team on the field.
Well, he's letting the clock run, take as much as he can.
Now, Coach Wattenberger here, you know, has an opportunity to perhaps, if you'll recall, the Tigers have had a couple bad snaps, Tony. May look to see Coach Wattenberger try to go for a block here.
Well,
that would certainly turn things around.
It would. So we've got 6:14 remaining as we're in timeout. Rockwood in the lead 21-7 here at Wallace Blackfield in this big region game here. As the Rockwood players turn to the Rockwood sidelines as they respond in unison, standing and clapping, cheering on their Tigers as they can smell a victory here tonight. The Harriman fans in return as we've got a little match going back and forth here, trying to outdo each other.
Well, David Collins,
good spirit.
In punt formation for the Tigers. Good snap, here they come. They almost got it as Rob Holt was really in there to get it on the first bounce, and he'll pick up about 10 yards on the return.
Rob Hope just at a little bit of the wrong angle, or he would have had that one. He was really charging in there on the blitz and was just off to the right just a little bit.
Well, we've got 6 minutes to play in the ball game. The Blue Devils have it 1st and 10, the ball at their own 22-yard line. So the clock is going to be the enemy of the Blue Devils now, as they're going to have to come out and put some points up quickly. Look for Borum to go to the air and go to the air in a hurry. Clemens comes wide to the right. Barger in the slot to the left in motion to the right. Borum back to pass. Quick and pitching it back to Barger now, and Barger is hit by Holloway. So Holloway on a good play coming up to stop Barger for a loss of 2 yards. So big play for the Tigers.
Holloway's had a good game tonight. You know, he's made a couple good tackles and then the touchdown run.
So down to 5:18 and the clock running.
You know, you would think, talking about going to the pass, if they'd try the little the short side of the field pass and try to get out of bounds and pick them up 5 yards. And
well, Clemens has been open all night on the little 15-yard across the middle.
Timeout.
Blue Devils in all kinds of motion. Coach Wattenberger can't believe it. Timeout, Blue Devils. We'll be back in 1 minute.
And a flag went down. Harriman's been called for illegal procedure. A 5-yard penalty has been assessed. So they'll have the ball 2nd down and 10, and the ball will be spotted on the 16-yard line. So things coming unwound here for the Blue Devils.
Clemens and Minot split wide to the left. Barger back to pass. Barger looking, throwing the ball out. It's up and no good, and almost intercepted by Ewing as the ball was alive. Ewing unable to come up with it, but it is an incomplete pass. It'll be 3rd down and 15 for the Blue Devils with 4:48 left now in the football game. The Tigers trying to hang on for a big win here tonight at Wallace Black Field.
I would remind everyone to stay tuned immediately following our broadcast here for the East Tennessee Scoreboard Show with your host, David Peabody Letford and James Neal, for all the update scores throughout East Tennessee.
Borum now under center, back to pass. Looking again to the left side as Minot has struck down, and Minot out of bounds, incomplete. As Borum that time really had to throw the ball a long way as he was sort of on the short side of the field, threw it all the way back across the field.
Well, Ron, look what you've got now. You've got 4th down. They're deep. McLean's going to have to be kicking from about his 5-yard line. So the Tigers are going to come in with good possession again.
And look again for Zach Collett to try to come right up the gut and try to block it as Wilson and Collett are trying to get in a line drive kick as no one was even back, so the ball's going to be blown dead at about the Tiger 27-yard line. Let's see, though, if the Tigers were offsides.
Flag on the play.
Motion against the Blue Devils. So now you're going to make them kick it again, Tony, as you get 5 yards back.
That's going to put him back at the goal line to kick it away. Now you watch for Collins to go for it this time.
So once again, the Blue Devils really not doing many things right tonight, Tony.
Again, we want to remind you that in the morning that you can watch the replay show on Harriman Cablevision starting at 8:30 with the Blue Devil show, immediately following by the Tiger show. So stay tuned. Harriman Cablevision Channel 7 for all your updated sports activities throughout Roane County.
So the officials will wind the clock again, and as you indicated, Tony, McLean now standing at the 1-yard line. 4:19 left in this football game. Ewing now back to receive the punt. The Tigers
they've got
lining up, and here comes the Blue Devils with another man off, and Coach Wattenberger is beside himself.
There's another flag.
As this one will go out of bounds at the Blue Devil 47-yard line. Again, motion, and Coach Wattenberger trying to find out what in the world is going wrong.
Well, you know, like you said, when things go wrong, things go wrong. You know, even, I don't know, Ron. He's really going to have to talk to him here. I'd say they'll have some long practices this week. You know, that's something that you just don't need to do. That's 3 plays in a row where they've had penalties.
Well, they've got 11 players on the field right now. So let's see what happens. Now McLean will be back in his end zone. And the clock's running, Tony.
I don't know why it's running unless they...
Well, there's about 6 seconds run off the clock as McLean this time gets another kickoff. No flags down. Ewing lets it roll. And actually, Tony, they pick up 7 yards on that.
Yeah. Well, too, they let it roll, too, and what that does, the clock runs. So, you know, that brings it down to 3:20. So 21 to 7 your score, Rockwood against Harriman in the fourth quarter with 3:20 remaining.
So the Tigers will take over at their own 45-yard line with 3:20 left. That's all Coach Gentry's concerned about is the clock. The official now
Well,
steps
he went
in.
over and talked to the electric clock operator about it and to the line judge, so he's going to go out and talk to the referee and see.
Well, they lost 8 or 10 seconds, Tony,
Yeah.
during the penalties.
So they'll confer out here and see what they do. Is now the referee comes over, Tom Scott. He'll talk to the electric clock operator. He's talking to Coach Wattenbarger. He's pointing to the clock and saying, guys, did you let some run off here or what?
Going to put 20 seconds back on, Tony.
Okay. As we look over here, the fans getting on the clock operator here. You know, they've got a new clock that they can program here now and shoot that straight up. So we'll see if these folks over here can do it. Hey, there they go. With just a flick of the button, it goes from 3:20 to 3:40.
So a good job again by the officials, right on top of it. 21 to 7, the Tigers with the lead with 3:40 left here in this football game, and the official says, let's get this thing wound up. We've had too many distractions here tonight.
Ready to go to the house, they said. And I think some of these fans in front of us ready to go, as all of the fans in front of us are counting with fingers.
So Kelly will keep the football around the right
look
side.
at Petticord come in.
And he's belted. As Rob Holt comes in to greet David Kelly, but the clock running, that's all Kelly wants to see right now. As a loss of about 3 yards, but this play will start with less than 3 minutes left in this football game.
Well, Rockwood just want to take their time now. They'll take advantage of all of the play clock, and you're exactly right. We're under 3 minutes now. 21 to 7, Rockwood leading Harriman, the fourth quarter of action here. There's offsides as McLean jumps from the center of the Harriman defensive line, and flags are thrown.
Offside, Blue
against
Devils.
Harriman. So 2:49. Ron, they've been penalized 6 times for a total of 40 yards the second half. According to our statistician, Mr. Charles Shannon.
But the one penalty that'll stick out in everybody's mind was roughing the passer.
That's right, back at midfield. It's
Crucial. The Blue Devils trying to dig in. Kelly this time will give to Newby. Newby gets by the first wave and drives down to about the Blue Devil 43-yard line, where it will be 1st and 10 for the Tigers with 2:28 left. And Tony, that first down will just about wrap this thing up. The Tigers will run 4 plays, and that will about do it.
Yeah, we need to give some credit to all of our camera people on the cameras tonight. We've got Bucky Bill Fennell over here on one, Joe Tipton on one, Mr. Rodders on another one up here with us. Our statistician is Charles Shannon. Tisha Walker on instant replay. Matt Thurman directing from the bus. Roger Rule in charge of technical difficulties. And I think back at the studio, I think we got Kevin back there, I think, if we're not mistaken.
Chris Mariano that time on a play up the middle, gaining good yardage, and they'll stop it for a measurement here with exactly 2 minutes. So we're stopped for the 2-minute warning.
Well, the officials are marking the ball here, going to stretch it. Looks like it's a first down for the Tigers.
Well, Tony, if the Tigers, in fact, do hang on for this final 2 minutes, this is a huge victory for them here tonight. On the road, region game, that's exactly what you have to do to stay in contention.
Well, let's see here. If they win, that drops in region play Harriman to 1-1, and that'll put Rockwood to 1-1. And let's see, Sweetwater was winning a few minutes ago, so that'll bring him up. That's really going to turn this thing up. Sweetwater
Webb
final.
loses. What is that, 19-14?
I can't see it. Is
If
it
it's
well?
19-14, give us a dot or something on the line there.
Well, I tell you what, Webb coming around.
19, Sweetwater 14.
Kelly on a quarterback sneak. Eats up some more yardage, but more importantly, eating up time. 1:13 left in this football game. So, Tony, that puts, you know, really, if Wartburg now can defeat Alcoa, Wartburg's in the driver's seat.
let's see if we've got that one, and maybe the Oneida score. See if they've got them. As you'll watch their charts, see if we can pick those up. If you've got the Alcoa score back at the station or an Oneida score, we'll kind of talk about things here. As we're down.
Last night, Harriman played host to Rockwood for one of the longest-standing rivalries in the state. Clark, Coach, to start the ball game last night, you know, Rockwood is an emotional rivalry. It doesn't quite, to some people, have the same thing that Kingston does, but yet it's still, you know, for many others it is, and it's still a big county-end rivalry. And of course, like I said, we take it on the chin a little bit last night, but I think one thing that you and your coaching staff have got in front of you is not to let these kids get down on themselves.
Right. You know, like I was telling the coaches this morning, that everybody in our region's 1-1 now, except Alcoa and Sweetwater. And Alcoa is 2-0, and Sweetwater's 0-2. So there's still a big logjam in our region. You know, nobody's out. And I think Rockwood did what they had to do last night to get themselves back in the picture, and Oliver Springs did what they had to do to get themselves back in the picture. They beat Oneida last night.
That's a big win for Oliver Springs.
So, exactly. You know, Oliver Springs kind of, you know, when we beat them, they kind of had their backs against the wall, and they answered back last night. Now our backs are against the wall, and we've got to step up and answer. So, you know, the region is very, very even this year. You know, you can't count Sweetwater out. You know, they're 0-4, but I mean, you know they've got some talent down there. They got an Upton kid back there at tailback. It's real quick, and
I think he's a freshman, isn't he?
I believe he's a sophomore. Then they got that quarterback returning who threw the ball well last year. So, you know, they got some talent too. So, and you know, who knows about Alcoa? You know, they might play real good one game, and the next game they might eke one out. You know, they're just 2-2, but both their wins are in the region, so they've done what they had to do to stay on top of the region.
Well, let's look at a little game film from last night and let you talk a little bit about some things maybe you see. I believe this is the opening kickoff, and we were looking earlier, and I believe you have a new player that probably makes a saving tackle here.
Yeah, Tommy Smith, he moved in here from Arkansas about the time school started this year. So, you know, he was a little behind, but he's a freshman, and he looks like he's got a little ability, and we kept playing him on scout team defense, and some of the varsity players said, Coach, you need to get this guy in with the varsity, because he was flying around on that scout team defense hitting people. So we put him in on kickoff last night, and he goes down and makes a tackle.
Most in the first half, it looked like, well, I believe just about all their plays went to their right toward their bench, and it seemed the same way in the second half. They always went toward their bench, Coach.
Yeah, and we knew that. Coach Clark had come in at halftime and said, Coach, they're running their bench just about every play. So he and Coach Bailey made a couple of adjustments, and we started slanting a few people that way, and you know, we held them out of the end zone the second half.
Wesley Barger did a good job there, Coach, and that instance, if that ball goes over his head, it probably lose about 10 or 15 more yards on the possession.
I sure would like to catch that ball in there, though, and, you know, give us a couple more yards there.
Running the cross, it seems it's a play that's worked fairly well for us this year.
Yeah, we've had a little success with it. We had a missed assignment there, and didn't get that linebacker blocked.
It's one thing we've noticed, Coach, you got pretty good speed. There's Nicky Eskridge and showing the speed, and he's just one step away from breaking that thing.
We feel like Nicky's probably our best run. He hits the hole. You know, we've got to find some running backs that are going to hit the hole. We got people tiptoeing up through there. I mean, Barger does a good job. He's just not the fastest guy in the world. Barger probably gets more out of his ability than a lot of people would, because he's such a smart runner. You know, he'll find his blockers and get behind them and get what he can. But we're going to have to hit the line of scrimmage now, and not, we're making our linemen have to sustain blocks too long. You know, if they create us a little crease, we got to be through it.
This is one thing we noticed last night. I'm not certain if we were correct or not. Looked like at times that your splits were just a little bit wider maybe than what they had. Was it something you saw?
Well, no, we want a 3-foot split between each lineman, and last week against North City, we got tightening down more and more as the game went, and we were almost foot to foot there at the end of the game. And in this wing T offense, you do so much angle blocking. You don't do a whole lot of drive blocking, and you know, we create that with our splits, being able to get down on people and moving people that way. We don't think we're big and strong enough to just man on man whip people, so we do a lot of angle blocking in this wing T offense.
Coaching basketball, we always talk about ball handling, but people don't think that has a lot to do with football. But Jonathan Bourne does a good job pretty much handling the ball, does a good job on his fakes and following through and hiding that ball when he comes out for center.
Yeah, we could still do a better job of it. Jonathan's got real big hands and he can hide the ball, but if we don't get the snap, we can't hide it.
Coach Bailey, would you tell us a little bit here about what's happening defensively?
Mostly we're running in our 5-3. We're running a little pitch every now and then. This mostly 5-3, and first 2 series here, we're playing exactly what we want to be doing. Played before this, I believe, as far as played before that. Roy Boyd did an excellent job at defensive end. We're playing pretty good defensive ball to start this ball game. We need to block that punt right there.
There were a couple of times, Coach, it looked like it might have had a good chance of blocking a punt. We just kind of stretched out for it a little bit.
I think maybe we're afraid we're going to run into the kick or something, but we need to. They've been 2 or 3 times. If we laid it out, I believe we could have got it.
There was our first fumble, but we recovered that, Coach, on the quarterback center exchange.
You know, that's a wasted down. It's 2nd and 10 or 11 now.
It was a tough night. There were a couple of times that they had somebody that looked like it was going to come on through, and a couple of times after Jonathan had made the handoff, they still put a hit on him. I think they actually got called for a penalty on that later in the ball game. So they were staying with Jonathan too.
Yeah.
It's a good stick there by Rockwood on Wesley Barger. Wesley, like I said, does a good job. He's a twisting runner. After he gets hit, usually he's going to pick you up a couple more yards.
Again, you know, missed assignment.
The one thing they were watching the punt, they seemed to be able to get some pretty good pressure on us and cause us to kick it a little high.
We'd done a pretty good job up till this week, and they was getting pressure up the middle on us.
Looked the penalty flag there, and they called that for interfering with the receiver's ability to catch. But Coach, we were looking, didn't see anybody within about 10 yards of it.
If you touch the ball before it hits the ground, then that's the rule.
That's what they were talking about at Wartburg a couple of weeks ago.
Well, on the onside kick,
right.
Yeah. And we discussed that earlier in the week. Coach Clark and I had discussed that, and that's the only thing we could figure, that you have to let the ball hit the ground before the kicking team can touch it.
Well, I don't think we touched it on purpose. I believe he kind of lost the ball and it just came down and hit him. Still, it's a penalty, though.
Yep.
Anthony does a good job on that play.
Anthony's done a good job kicking for you this year, too, so far, hasn't he? They did a good job of popping it out. And Dewey Sampson, I believe, Dewey made the tackle on it. Dewey's done a fairly good job of coming across at that end.
We're pleased with our defensive ends. You know, we think they're very coachable young men. They're both pretty new to this. Nate's a sophomore and Dewey's a junior, but this is the first year he's played. So they're very coachable. They'll do exactly what you ask of them, and you know, we're pretty well pleased with our defensive ends.
Seen Rockwood fumble the ball then, they recovered. That's one thing the last couple of weeks that we haven't done that against Oliver Springs we did, and that's we've not been able to pick up any turnovers.
Right, we're not winning the turnover ratio battle. You know, we need to have a positive turnover ratio, and
this is a big play right here with the screen that sets up Rockwood's first score.
Right, and this young man right here is going to be an excellent football player for Rockwood. Greg Ewing, he's a freshman. He's going to be an excellent football player.
Showed pretty good speed and did a good job of setting his blockers up
Right.
that time. This is going to be Rockwood's first score, and Coach, this is we're in the second quarter. Like we talked about, that's where we seem to be having a little trouble. And that almost looked like a pass from where we were looking.
Yeah,
Coach.
it looked like the defensive end did what he was supposed to. He come down and attacked the quarterback and made him pitch, and we didn't have anybody come up on the pitch man.
Good job. That the extra points converted, and that makes it 7-zip. Rockwood ahead. And you see the score. At this point, Coach, almost seemed like a little sense of urgency or the feeling in the air, but you know, we're in good shape, really, still.
Yeah, we moved the football. You know, we had that mistake where we fumbled the snap on the second series and put us in a hole, made it 2nd and 10. But
Nicky did a good job of
Nick-
cutting that up.
right, we didn't block that very well at all, and Nicky just found a hole and made those yards on his own.
Rockwood seemed to be putting some pretty good hits on us at times. To some extent, there's probably lucky we didn't top it up a time or two more. Like I said, they put some good hits. There's Wesley, breaks a tackle and gets out, and it looks like he's about a step away from breaking it, Coach.
Yeah, it takes us so long to get to the point of attack, though.
There's another as we lose the
see-
we lose the exchange.
We're moving the football again. I mean, we have moved the football down to the 37-yard line.
Well, you know, that's against, I haven't seen the stats for last night, but against Oliver Springs we had over 260 yards total offense, so we're moving the ball there, and like I said, we're moving it again last night. It's a good defensive play by your ends and the pursuit there, Coach Bailey.
Yeah, that was a real good job on our part there. And a lot of it came from Anthony at the nose guard.
Missed tackle.
He set the play up from there.
Missed tackle, and that they pick up about I think it's about 8 or 9 yards off of that. And again, they're running to their bench, and newbie, hard kid to bring down. They list him at 5'9", 175, but he's got looks like good sized legs, and you can see just one person hitting him's not going to put him on the ground.
Good hard runner. Rockwood came ready to play last night and came ready to play for 4 quarters. And
Coach Gentry had them well prepared.
yes, he did. You got to give Rockwood credit. They come down here and they took it to us.
We're moving the ball up the field. It's on about the 27-yard line now, and not far from it here. We're gonna go down by 2 touchdowns, Coach. And looking at the films, did they see anything that might have give us any indication other than like you're talking about what I always want to run to the bench side? Here's a big
No, we just we had the Horace Maynard film, and no, they pretty much mixed it up pretty well. We charted the whole film, and we studied it quite a bit, and we couldn't find any tendencies that they were doing.
A lot of people that are fans don't really realize the preparation that you and your team has to go through, Coach.
Oh, yeah.
You and your coaching staff spend a lot of time after the game. You were talking this morning about how much time y'all spent talking about last night after the game and the preparation for instance, for next week's game.
Yeah, that's Coach Bailey and Coach Clark and Coach Mims all do a good job of helping us get prepared, and we spent about I guess about 3 or 4 hours last Saturday watching Rockwood film, and I know Coach Bailey takes the film home with him during the week and watches it probably 10 or 12 times.
There's another fumble on the center quarterback exchange, Coach, and it gives them a ball. This toward the end of the first half, gives them a ball just about our 30-yard line.
Yeah. And then we get a penalty, and I don't know. It's
very costly penalty too, Coach.
Yeah, it's very costly. Very costly. And I thought it was a little questionable. I mean, Anthony, he's a step away when the guy's throwing the ball. I mean, I don't know what you tell a kid there. I mean, he's right on the guy when he throws it.
I don't recall us in the first 3 games getting a roughing the passer.
Yeah, we got one at Oliver Springs that gave them a touchdown too in the 4th quarter.
Big
I didn't remember
play.
that one.
We couldn't see it on film, but you can see this one, and he's a step away.
I mean, if one of our players intentionally took what I thought was a cheap shot at the opposing quarterback in a situation like that, we wouldn't put up with that.
No,
That would not be tolerated. But I don't know what you say in a situation like that, to be honest, Coach. I really don't think I need to get on Anthony because I think he was just.
he asked me, he said, Coach, he said, I was right there. What do I do? Can I not hit the guy? I said, Anthony, I don't know what to tell you. You just keep playing hard. And if you're there, and you tackle the guy, and they call a flag on you.
Here's a big
then
play
what do you
right
do?
here. Here's a big play right here, Coach.
Yeah, we got.
Coach, this right here is entirely my fault. No ifs, ands, and buts. That should not have happened. It's my fault.
Coach,
We're in the wrong defense. We're in the wrong everything. We knew. It's mine. We should have called timeout, or I should have called timeout and made a change there.
that's a big play. Instead of, if they kick the field goal, Coach, we're down 17 to zip. As it is, that with converting on the extra point, that makes it 21. And actually, that's all they're going to score for the game. So that 21 to nothing with a little under 14 seconds left in the first half. That's a big play. They seem to be afraid of kicking the ball to the speed deep. They try to angle kick it.
They did that last week. I think what they're more scared of their. I believe, I don't know if he's leery of that, but I know Sequatchie County ran one back on them, and so they figure they're doing just as good kicking it over there and not getting it to a guy that could possibly break it, because most people have their guys that can break it deep. You're right.
Okay, I tell you what, let's do. Let's take a commercial break, and we'll be back in just a minute.
Well, we went at halftime, and like Coach Bailey said, Coach Clark made a few adjustments defensively, and my big thing was I was going to find out who on this football team still wanted to play football or who wanted to lay down. We was going to find out a little bit about the character this half. I thought we'd come out and still play. I don't think we had anybody lay down.
A good run there, but Jonathan to pick up some yardage after it really looked like there wasn't anything there.
Yeah, we picked up.
Their nose man's killing us, Coach.
Yeah, their nose man stayed in their backfield. He might as well have handed him the ball.
May have been some of the problems on the exchange.
May have been.
And you can see we're just a little bit short.
Daniel gives us a good surge there, though. He hits the guy and keeps his leg from moving.
Daniel has a big play later in this drive to
Yeah,
get us down in
that's right.
scoring position.
Gets us down to the 5.
It's a good second effort by Nick.
Yeah. I think Nicky Esker is, he's came on and does a real good job for us. Nicky's one of those guys that really wants to play football.
We were talking, that pass right there seemed to be open quite a bit. Roy makes a good move there,
Yeah.
Coach.
That's my fault. I didn't find it earlier. And, I guess we completed several times here in the second half.
I believe that's Daniel's run there. Looks like forward to side to side.
And that's the second play we ran that first play. First series we had the ball of the game. And blocked it right. I mean, it's amazing if you do what you're supposed to, how things work.
Little funny play right here, Coach. It looked like we thought that Wesley was down.
The ball, you see the ball jump out of there as soon as, right when he's taking the handoff, he slips or something and catches his step.
We was only about 600 feet away from where we were at. That made it a little more difficult to see.
Again, we shoot ourselves in the foot.
Rob stepped good on that play, Coach.
Yeah,
We're still getting after them.
I thought Rob was almost sick after the game. He was so, he was cramping. He'd play. I thought Rob probably played. You don't have to do it.
We had the broadcast last night from upstairs, and I noticed you had Rob out talking to him before the game. And
Well, Rob's one of our leaders, and Rob wants to win as bad as anybody. I was just telling Rob, he's a leader and he needs to be positive with these young kids. You can't scream and holler at them all the time. Be a positive leader. And it's his job to, you know, they look to these seniors sometimes to keep them up, keep them going. If they see the seniors, you know, kind of stepping back and not playing hard, then, you know, they're going to follow suit.
A good play by your corner there, Coach.
Did a good job of recovering there, Coach Bailey. We had a little missed tackle, but the pursuit, like you were talking about earlier.
We do a good job in pursuit. That's probably our strongest suit really on defense is our pursuit. You know, they didn't get no 60 defense one time last night, did they?
No, they played a 60 the whole first half against Forest Maynard, and we prepared for it, and they set in at 50 all night. But, you know,
Good play right there to pick up a little bit out of nothing. Looked like it stopped in the backfield.
that's a bad decision on Bowen's part, man. And he come and told me he had determined when he broke the huddle what he was going to do, and he told me that. And we have told him to let it happen, read what happens, and then let it happen. But he come over the sideline and says, I told Rob to kick the guy out. I'm going to run underneath. And if he runs outside like the play dictates, then, you know, he picks up the first down probably.
Well, that's youth and a little bit of inexperience. He's a young player. He'll learn.
He'll learn that. You're right. I think Bourne's got the athletic ability to get the job done. If we can, you know, it's hard for me to look at Jonathan and realize that, you know, he looks good physically, but his mind's still 15 years old.
Well, I think it's as parents and as fans, and sometimes maybe even as coaches, we all have a tendency to forget that these are just some of them
Right.
a little over 14, and most of them under 18. They're still kids.
Jonathan's young for the Grady's end. He's still just 15 years old.
It's a good play here. We're talking about the pass, and Roy does a good job of catching it, Coach. Like I said, he and Jason Minot were probably two good bright spots last night, and we get a penalty tacked onto this. It helps us a little bit more.
I guess we threw for about 100 yards last night. Well, I mean, that's a good play right there. I thought John Scott will come in, Bourne pitched the ball, and we, gained 15 or so yards. We have a penalty.
John's got pretty good speed, doesn't he, Coach?
Yeah, John's not a real physical runner, but if he gets an open field, then he can make things happen.
It was a dangerous pitch there, but goes out of bounds, and we still retain possession.
Hey, we do a good job blocking right there. Again, we just don't have that quick burst that people are used to seeing from Harriman to make a big play out of that.
Coach, it's kind of hard to replace speed of Copeland and Boyd.
I know. But still, people are used to seeing it, and
That's right.
and we just do not have that burst, and that's nothing against these kids. You know, they play hard.
Here's the
And,
catch by Minot.
That's just will right there. You know,
just
going
went
out
up and
and
took
making
it
a
away.
play. That's somebody stepping up and making a play for us, and that's what we got to have.
He needed it at that time too. Really
We
did.
could have used it earlier, but better late than never. Again, we laid the football on the ground. I mean, it was late, but still, the ball's just rolling around on the ground. Every time we get in here, it seems like we lay it on the ground. This is a play where,
I believe this is
you know,
touchdown.
that shows you a little bit of Bourne's athletic ability. You know, outrunning that defensive end who had the angle on him, rolling left, throws back across back across the field to our tight end who drug and sat down in the middle there, or on the side like he's supposed to.
That's a real difficult throw too, isn't it, Coach?
Very difficult.
That's a terrific job on Jonathan's part.
Yeah.
And very few high school quarterbacks can make it. I look at.
Well, that puts us really back in the ball game, coaches. I think there's about 10 minutes left in the game.
It gives us some hope. You're right. It gives us some hope here. We can keep playing hard and maybe make something happen. Or again, we hit the guy in the backfield and he gains 5 yards.
He's a tough runner.
Yeah.
Good athlete.
He gets a little bit on the outside. Looks like there's a little bit of containment.
We're playing pretty good defense. We're running 60 most of this series running here, Coach.
Well, it ends up, Coach, that I guess we'll do a little explaining here. We had to.
Well, I thought.
We're still not out of the ball game here. It's still 21-7.
Yeah, we got to make things happen quick now, and the Rockwood's doing exactly what they have to. They're running out the clock. They're taking their time. Again, we're close.
Wesley does a pretty good job to pick the ball up and get some.
I sure do wish
positive
you'd
yards.
catch it in the air, though. Because that football's going to bounce crazy sometimes, and.
Most of their kicks, Coach, were fairly low. Didn't really get any air up under them.
Our option didn't look. We didn't attack. We attacked too deep that time. We didn't attack up.
I believe we had looked like the guard pulled out just a little bit early.
We have about 5 penalties in a row right here.
I think Harold Balcom was trying to keep the stats on penalties up last night. I think there was about 10 total. Right there's could have been a disastrous play. Good break on the ball by the defensive back, tipped it up.
It looked like it went right through Jason Minot's hands, and he did. He come over and says, mad because it went through his hands.
Got a good kick here, but I think we counted up about 50 yards. We've got to come back and do it again.
Well, had a young man stand there beside me. About the time we kick it, he goes, "Coach, I'm supposed to be on the punt team." And he just forgot. Again, it's a young kid. I don't know if he's 15 or 16, but we just have mental lapses sometimes.
We kicked it again, and we're going, like I said, Coach, we had about 3 in a row. We come back, and hopefully, and I know with the listening to you talk after the game, that there'll be, as you said, some attitude readjustment come Monday, that these mistakes probably won't occur next week.
Well, I'd like to think they won't, but you're right. We are going to have a little attitude adjustment come Monday.
Like I said, we all need to remember these are still 15, 16-year-old kids. Had a little problem with the clock. We noticed our coach, they ran about 20 seconds
The
off.
whole time they were marking off this penalty, that clock was running, and that referee said, "Well, I stopped it during the play and gave you 4 seconds back." But that penalty took about 30 seconds.
I think it ran off from about, it's pretty close to 30.
But the head, he said he's just going to give me 4, but the head guy come over and gave us 20 seconds back, so I think they did a pretty good job there.
Can we get a penalty?
Yeah, you can go ahead and cut the tape. They just, yeah,